Hello and welcome to the Effortless English vocabulary for disobedience. Okay, I'm going to talk about the word just. Just is an important word. It's a different meaning than the word just when you say, I just want to go to sleep. In that case, just means only, right? I only want to go to sleep. But in this case, in this article, just means good or fair. It comes from the word justice. Okay, so it means goodness, or to be good, fair, correct. That's what just means. All right. A little bit later, I use the first paragraph, Thoreau, in the Thoreau quote, I use the word admirable, or he uses the word admirable. Admirable means should be admired. And admired means to think good things about someone, to think someone is good. So if someone is admirable, it means you should think they are good. Wow, he's a good person. He is an admirable person. All right, I use the phrase against their wills, or against your will, or against his will. Against your will means against your choice. It means you do something, but you don't want to do it. Maybe you must do it, but it's against your will. You don't really want to. All right, we use there's a word here, conscience. Conscience, in this case with a C, S-C-I-E-N-C-E. Your conscience is your feeling for right and wrong. What is right and what is wrong. It's how you decide. If you think, oh no, this is bad, this is good. That's your conscience. If you say, he has a strong conscience, it means he always thinks about what is right and what is wrong. He never wants to hurt people. That's conscience. All right, the end of that first paragraph, you'll see the word unscrupulous, an unscrupulous man in power. Unscrupulous, we use it to describe people usually, maybe a company. And unscrupulous means you don't care about right or wrong. It means you do not have a conscience. You only care about power. That's all you care about, unscrupulous. All right, the next paragraph, you'll see the phrase the state. The is important here. The state means the country, or the nation. All right, in the next sentence, you'll see the phrase standing army. A standing army is a permanent army. It means an army that's always ready. So America has a standing army. It's a professional army. It's not temporary. All right, you'll see the word manufactured in that paragraph. Manufactured means made. The verb to manufacture means to make something. Right. You'll see the phrase lump of dirt. A lump of dirt is a round piece of dirt, like a ball of dirt. A lump is something that's kind of round, a small round thing. We call that a lump. If I hit you on the head with a rock, your head will get a lump on top of it. Okay, next. So that's the end of the quote. Next paragraph. I use the word abominable. I say many of the abominable problems in the world. Abominable means terrible, horrible, really, really bad. Abominable. Obedience, it's an important word for this article. Obedience is a noun. The verb is to obey. Obedience means you do what other people tell you to do, right? You follow other people. You follow your boss, or you follow your parents, or you follow the president. That's obedience. That's the noun. If the action is actually called to obey, right? Obey. All right, the next sentence, I use the word moan. Moan is this sound. Oh, oh. It's a sound you make when you're hurt. If you're hurt, oh, oh. And it also sometimes has the idea of criticizing someone, right? Oh, he's terrible. Oh, she's horrible. She's bad. You're moaning. Okay. I use the word solely in that paragraph. Solely responsible. It means only responsible, right? Solely means only. And at the end of that paragraph, I use the word abandoned. These people have abandoned their conscience. To abandon something means to leave it forever, or to get rid of it. If a mother, abandons her children, she takes her children, she puts them somewhere, and she goes away. She never sees her children again. She has abandoned her children. All right, next page of the learning guide. You'll see the word soldiers. Of course, a soldier is someone in the army, an army man or army woman. Talk about pulling the trigger. The trigger is part of a gun. It's the part you pull. You pull the trigger, that little piece of metal, and then the gun shoots. I use the word torturing. It comes from the verb to torture. To torture is to hurt someone. You try to hurt someone. But it means to hurt someone who has no power. They're helpless, maybe a prisoner or a child or something. So you hurt them, you hit them, you beat them, you do terrible things to them. That's called torture. It's a noun or a verb. All right, and then at the end of that part, at the end of that paragraph, I use the verb to refuse an order. To refuse something means to say no. Someone asks you to do something or tells you to do something, but you say, no, I won't do it. That means you're refusing, right? I refuse. I will not do it. So refuse is a little bit like a word in the next paragraph, which is disobey. Disobey, it has a similar meaning, a close meaning. It means, disobey means not obey. Do not do what someone tells you to do. You do not follow orders. And you'll see the word unjust. Unjust is the opposite of just. So unjust means bad. An unjust law is a bad law. It's a law that hurts people. So Thoreau and Gandhi and Martin Luther King, they all said, disobey unjust laws. Do not follow bad laws. Okay, and these people were rebels. You'll see in the same paragraph the word rebels. A rebel is a person who fights the government. They go against the government. Martin Luther King was a rebel. Gandhi was a rebel. Many famous people were rebels. They fought against a government at some time. All right, at the end of that same paragraph, you see the phrase Vietnam War resistors. A resistor is a person who resists. Okay, of course. And to resist, the verb means, it's a little bit like refuse, but it has the idea of going against something, fighting against something, or trying to stop something. So a Vietnam War resistor is a person who tried to stop the Vietnam War. An Iraq War resistor is someone who is trying to stop the Iraq War. Next paragraph. I say that these people, Martin Luther King, Gandhi, Thoreau, they are always condemned in the present, means during their life. People condemn them. To condemn means to criticize, to say very bad things about someone, to blame them, to say they are wrong, right? So when Gandhi was alive, many British people, especially the government, they said, he's bad, Gandhi's terrible. The same thing, Martin Luther King. Many people in the 1950s, they said, Martin Luther King is a bad guy, he's terrible. All right. And I say they are vilified. These people are vilified. To vilify someone is to describe them as being evil. You say they are evil, terrible people. That's vilify. So Martin Luther King was vilified during his life. Gandhi was vilified by some people. Thoreau also. All right. I say during the 1950s, Martin Luther King was vilified as a radical. A radical is someone who wants very big changes. They want to change a lot of things, especially the government. Now it has a little bit of a negative meaning, and it has the idea of someone who might be violent. Of course, Martin Luther King was not violent, and so, was he a radical? I don't know. He did want big changes, but he was not violent. So a radical, someone who wants big changes. All right, and then I say, next paragraph, the authorities he resisted are now viewed as scum. The authorities, you need the or the in front. If those two together usually it means the government. It means people with power, the authorities. And scum is an insult. It's a bad word. Don't call someone a scum unless you hate them. A scum is a low-class person, a really bad person. Maybe a criminal, maybe someone with no education who's very terrible, bad person. Scum. All right, and finally the word lifetime means, of course, the time that someone lived. Martin Luther King's lifetime. He lived in the 40s, 50s, 60s. Gandhi lived, late 1800s, 1900s through World War II, etc. Thoreau lived in, 1840s, 1850s, etc. Okay, that's it for today's vocabulary. I went fast today. So, if you don't understand the first time, listen again. That's the magic of MP3s. You can listen many, many times. Repeat this many times. The repetition, the repeating will help you a lot. It's easier than trying to memorize and study so hard, right? Just relax and listen again, no problem. If you don't remember, so what? Listen again. It's really easy. Okay, after you finish this a few times, listen to the mini story. That might also help you. Okay, see you next time. Bye-bye.